Good afternoon, and welcome to this lecture of electronics, in which we were studying memories, right? So we have completed almost dynamic RAM in the last class, and today we are going to continue with the new topic that is static RAM. So how the static RAM works and everything. So we'll just refresh what we have studied yesterday. Let me share my screen and introduce myself. Mm, Yeah, so myself, Dr. N.D. Mishra, Head and Associate Professor, Department of Electronics, Sri Mathura Das Mohta College of Science, and today we are going to study about static RAM. In the last class, we have completed dynamic RAM, the construction and working of dynamic RAM, and today we are going to just refresh at what we have studied in the last class. And along with that, uh, we will continue with that. So this is a chipset that I have showed you yesterday. That this is how the motherboard looks like in the computer. So actually, this is too advanced as far as your syllabus is concerned. But just I need to tell you how it looks like. This is the bus, which is supposed to be a 8-bit wire, and these are the slots where we are supposed to put the memory. I have that memory also with me, so that I can show you. So I have that RAM also. So these are the RAMs that we are expecting to connect in those slots. So these are the slots where we need to connect this RAM, right? And without this RAM, the computer does not work, even if it is loosely fit. So it will show you that it will hang and it will not connect, right? So this is how we are going to fit in the slot. So this is that RAM. I need to tell you that. And why we require RAM? Because the CPU is not able to access the data directly from the hard drive. So what hard drive does is hard drive gives that data to the RAM first, and then the CPU is able to access that data from the RAM. Now, what is that data? It is some of the programs, it is some of the instructions, some of the say data to be processed. So that is all is stored in the RAM, in the hard drive. And as soon as you start the PC, the all the data which is required is being first loaded or stored in the RAM, and then the CPU accesses that data. The CPU cannot access it directly, and since the speed, if you need to increase the speed of the CPU or computer, then you have to increase the size of the RAM. So that was shown over here. This was what I missed yesterday. And then we have studied the memory types, read-only memory, where we are expecting the data is to be read-only. We are not able to change or exchange the data. Random access memory, RAM, refers to a memory in a digital system that has both read and write of capabilities. Mostly it's high-speed temporary storage. Why it is called as temporary storage? Because as soon as the power is switched off, the data is being deleted from the RAM. So we are having two types of RAM, static RAM and dynamic RAM. Yesterday we have studied this. SRAM takes approximately four times the silicon area of DRAM. I'm going to tell you because DRAM consists of only one transistor and a capacitor, whereas dynamic RAM consists of static RAM consists of six transistors. We'll study. This was some of the uh, say the comparison between SRAM and DRAM. We have studied it yesterday. Then dynamic RAM, the characteristics of dynamic RAM, we have completed this too. And this is how the DRAM operates. And this is the construction of the transistor. Now we have completed this. This is dynamic RAM. Why? Because the capacitor needs to be refreshed at equal interval of time. And so it requires the power, right? So that is why the name is there. That is dynamic type of RAM. Since the capacitor has the tendency to leak the current, and therefore it has to be refreshed at equal interval of time. Okay. So this was dynamic RAM structure, and this is what I mean to tell you that it say it leaks the voltage. So we have to refresh it at equal interval, and we require refreshing circuit too. Whereas in SRAM, it does not require, it is not required to be refreshed, right? So we call it as, just call it as the main memory, and this is the cache. Okay, so we'll start with static RAM. So we have also studied this. So these bits are stored on or off switches, right? Remember, there's no charges to leak, no refreshing needed with powered, more complex construction. The construction is very, very complex. You'll just know that. Larger per bit, more expensive, does not need refresh circuit, it is faster, and it is a cache type of a memory, and it is a digital. And dynamic RAM is sort of analog since we are employing the capacitor in it, right? So digital circuits use flip-flops or say the resistor. So these are the RAM and this is the speed, that is how it has been calculated. Now static RAM or cache. So static RAMs are very high speed, so we can have this static RAM over there, then memory cell. Now let us start with this. So there are two types of basic electronic elements, latch and flip-flop. As I told you, the latch is a memory cell built from two feedback connected networks. So cross-coupled net inverters, we are connecting that like this. So whenever we are applying zero to the first input of the first inverter, that is not gate, automatically one will appear on the output of the not gate, and just one is fed to the input of the second, so it will again give you zero. So this is how zero is again input to the V1 or the first input of the not gate. So it retains one over there. So this is the basic concept of the feedback connected network, and we call it as a latch. Similarly, we have a flip-flop. We have studied this flip-flop used by making NAND gate. Similarly, flip-flop used by using NOR gate, right? So NOR gate and NAND gate flip-flops we have studied this in the last semester. Okay. So the set reset flip-flop, a memory cell built from two feedback connected NOR and NAND gates. These circuits are positive feedback to store information. These flip-flops are supposed to be the positive feedback to store information. And these circuits have two stable states, and therefore they are called as the bistable circuits. Yes, I did this. Now, latch static memory cell. This is the basic concept of the memory cell that we are expecting to study today. So we are having two cross-coupled inverters. The behavior of the cell can be understood by analyzing its VTC, voltage across this. So the blue curve is the VTC of the two cascaded inverters, 1 and 2. So this is that blue line where we are having these two inverters, and this is how the switching takes place. So V1 and VO. So we are having two voltages over there, over here, and this blue line will show you, and this blue line shows the switching of that, and this red line shows you how the voltage comes out of it. So it is around 2 volts. The red line slope is the VTC of the unit feedback tree. The equilibrium operating points are given by the intersection of two VTC curves. So these are two VTC curves. Or there are two stable Q points, Vi equal to Vo equal to Vh, and Vi equal to Vo equal to VL. So we are having two stages, high and low. Small deviation from those 2 points will cause the cell to return into themselves. So very small voltage decrease or increase in the small voltage can change that portion over there, right? Yeah. So this is the equilibrium point. I've told you this, and yeah. So yeah. So there is also one unstable Q point in the middle where slight changes in the voltage will cause it to latch in one of the stable states. So this is the quiescent point that we have studied in, say, the transistor. And if there is a slight change in over here, then it will go into the sum of the stable state, whether it is high or whether it might be taken as low, right? Accordingly. So this is the Q point over there. Now 60 cell. Now this is important. This is the important circuit. I guess someone has drawn some line. Please rub that. So the previous cell can exist indefinitely long in one of the stable states, high or low. That is, it can store one bit of information from zero to or zero or one. Rinki with mitado zero or one, right? So, however, this construction is not yet unstable, not yet usable. Rinki, आप मिटा दोगे ये? हेलो, इधर ऊपर की भी लाइन आप क्या करते रहते? So, however, this construction is not yet usable because there is no mechanism to change the state to write the information into cell, and this is accomplished by addition of two control access transistors called as 6T, that is 6 transistor cell that can store 0 and 1 values of the data and allows to write and to read that data. So this six transistor combination will have that, right? uh, बेटा ऊपर भी लिखा हुआ है वो भी मिटा दो. So the excess transistors also isolate one cell from another in a memory array, and I'm going to show you that. Uh, yeah, so this is that six transistor construction of the static RAM, and you are able to see this four inside it where we are having this word line. So this word line will be shifted on the upside, and this transistor one, two, three, four, right? So these four transistors will form a cross-coupled inverter. So this forms one inverter, this forms another inverter, and this MA2 and MA1 will be connected to these two lines, bit line and bit line bar, where we are going to store. So this is actually shown in another example where we can have the circuit, and this can be replaced by the inverter. So it will look like this. So the word line will be on the top of this. So this is a word line which will be on top, and will be it will be appearing like two inverters, right? So these two transistors combinedly form one inverter, and these two transistor will form another, say, another inverter, right? So these are D1, that is D, and D2 will be D bar, right? And it is connected to MA1 and MA2. So, and from there, it is connected to bit line and bit line bar. Okay, so this is basic construction of the 6K cell or the static RAM. Now, how it works, that will go. So, the read operation of a 60 cell will be like this. So, consider a 60 cell with VDD equal to 3 volts, like this. Yeah, and you are able to see here we have shown the across this bit line bar and bit line we are having a sense amplifier. This is nothing but a comparator, op-amp comparator. I guess you won't understand that operational amplifier right now. Next, in the next session you will be able to understand what is op-amp, operational amplifier. So now let us consider this 60 cell with VDD equal to 3 volts. So here we are applying this 3 volt VDD, and uh, yeah, so a zero in the memory cell corresponds to a low level 0 volt on the left data storage node. So if you apply zero over here, so this zero will come across this point at this left hand side, and accordingly, if it is zero, then what will appear? It will appear 3 over here. Why? Because automatically on the left data G1 and a high level 3 volt on the right data node, that is G2. One in the memory cell corresponds to a high level on D1 and a low level on D2. So जैसे इधर जीरो आया है इधर वन आ गया, and automatically if it is one, then it will be zero, or if it is zero, then automatically it will be one, right? So this is the basic construction of our basic construction of the six the static RAM, right? Now let us see. So initial state of the cell, storing a zero with the bit lines initially pre-charged to VDD by 2 and word line set to zero. So if this word line is set to zero, then these transistors are not going to work, and the data will remain as it is. So it will have a zero over here and it will have a 3 volt over here, right? So sense amplifier will not going to stay unless and until we are going to apply word line equal to high, then only it is going to work, right? So yeah, so as soon as we apply say a voltage over here, then uh, this this side is off since we are having zero over here, and this side is on since it is say it is showing you 3 volts, right? Still the word line is zero. Now as soon as it is zero, then the cell storing zero will with the bit lines initially pre-charged to VDD by 2, and say the word line is set to zero. Right now, consider a 60 cell with VDD equal to 3 volt. Assume that a zero is stored over there. And if you are able to see that here now we have used this word line to high, that is plus 3 volts. Now we have given this word line at high. Now how this is going to read the data? Now if it is zero, so as soon as it becomes zero, then the data is being this two transistors will be on, and automatically a zero will be put on bit line and one will be put on the bit line bar, right? So this is how we can read from this bit line one and bit line bar just by putting the data word line equal to 3 volts. So if you put word line equal to 3 volts, then the data is being taken on the bit line and bit line bar. So automatically 0 is there on bit line and this 1 is taken on the bit line bar. Okay, so yeah. So to read the data, we set the word line to 3 volt, which sets WL transistors on, these WL transistors to on state, and MA1 in triode VGS equal to 3, VDS equal to 1.5. That is goes from I1 goes from bit line to cell. So the current will start flowing from here to the ground. So this is 1.5 and this is plus 1.5. Again, the bit line is 3 volt, the positive 3 volt is given to over here, and the current will start flowing through this, right? So accordingly, this is the initial stage of that. And now, due to that, what happens? The current will start flowing in this direction now. So the I2 will start flowing. So I1 starts flowing from here to the first inverter since it is 0 D1, and D2, the current will start flowing from here to the above, right? Accordingly. So this is how the 1 is being read or 0 is being read. Okay. So this shows you the read operation. And finally, what we will have, the read state condition of 60 cell will have this 0 will be coming across this. So plus 3 volt will be coming at this point and 0 volt will be coming at this point. So automatically, as soon as the word line becomes high, so we'll have uh, the output at this stage. So this is bit line and this is bit line bar. So MA1 both in a triode with zero current because BDS is equal to 0. So this is the final stage that we are having in a 60 cell. It is, yeah. So reading means that DL and DL bar assumed the state of the cell, the same voltages as the cell is in 0 state. So we are having this bit line equal to 0 and this bit line bar equal to plus 3 volts since it is the complement of that. This is how it works as yeah, रिंकी बेटा आप शेयर कर रहे हो ओके सो दिस इज यहाँ पर भी आपका ऊपर एक है so this is how the read operation is present over there for a 60 cell. Yes, I have not done with the write operation. Yes, so write operation I have not done, so I guess I will take another class for that. Okay, so I guess you have understood how the read operation works. So whenever we have the word line equal to 0, the transistors are going to be off, and the word line when it becomes on or when we apply 3 volts to this word line, then only the output it comes across the bit line and bit line bar. So that is more important. So word line is shown over here, that is plus 3 volts, and the 0 comes out of here, and the final stage will be having the plus 5 0 volt on 0 volt on this bit line. Okay. And the bit line bar will have plus 3 volt accordingly. So this is how the 60 cell or the static RAM works for reading the data from the static RAM. This is only for a 1-bit memory. So it is storing 1 bit. As you are able to see, there are six transistors, say 6 transistors construction of a static cell, whereas we are having only one transistor for a dynamic RAM, one transistor and a, capacitor. So only two things we are having. So that is why it requires a smaller area. But the capacitor which is applied over there is large, so it requires a larger space. That is the main issue. And the leakage problem of a capacitor is another issue. And because of that only, it is analog sort of say storage. And whereas this static RAM is supposed to be the digital type of a storage. Okay. So I guess this much is enough for today. I will continue this in the next class, how we can write the data in the say data in the 60 cell or say the static RAM, right? Thank you. Thank you, Marivej. If you have any questions, you can, yeah, if you have any questions, we can ask on. You can, thank you. Thank you very much for joining the class. And I will be uploading this on my YouTube channel. Please go through my YouTube channel, like, subscribe, and share my videos. And please uh, subscribe and comment on my YouTube channel. Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a nice time. Stay home, stay safe. Take care. Good day. See you in the next class.